The deep space listening post floated silently in the darkness, anchored to nothing but an ancient asteroid. Round it stretched the cold void at the edge of the Orion Arm, where even the boldest traders refused to travel. The lone technician, on duty, a four-armed insectoid named Vrix, rubbed his mandibles nervously. Nothing ever happened out here. That's what they told him when he accepted this post. It's a quiet sector, easy credits, just monitor for rogue signals. But tonight, something was different. The signal came without warning. A low droning sound vibrated through the station's walls, so deep it seemed to rattle Vrix's very bones. Lights flickered. The consoles hissed. Static. On the main screen, a jagged waveform rose and fell, like the heartbeat of a leviathan. Vrix's claws trembled. He had monitored thousands of signals in his career distress beacons, pirate chatter, solar interference. But this was something else. Station Thatnine to Galactic Coalition Command, Vrix stammered into the com. We've picked up a massive transmission at coordinates Delta 1 to 73. It's not natural. It's too structured. Tapped the console again. Command, please respond. Signal there's something alive in it. The sound grew louder, rising in pitch until the station's hull groaned in protest. Vrix's antennae quivered. His mandibles clicked in panic. And then, for a fraction of a second, he swore he heard words buried in the noise. Humanity endures. His four eyes widened. That was impossible. Humans were extinct 50,000 years ago. The last of their war fleets vanished during the Great Silence. Their colonies fell dark. Their homeworld burned. The Galactic Coalition's oldest records spoke of humans in hushed tones, giants who built impossible machines, who fought like gods, then disappeared without a trace. Vrix slammed the emergency beacon. Command, send a fleet now. Something's waking up out here. Before he could finish, the signal surged. The asteroid field outside lit up as faint blue lights flickered in the distance, weaving through the rocks like the eyes of a predator, and then Vrix's screen went black. The listening post's lights died. The last thing Vrix saw before the vacuum tore through the station was a massive, dark shape gliding between the asteroids, larger than any ship he had ever seen. 2 days later, the Galactic Coalition assembled an emergency response fleet at the edge of the Orion Arm. Admiral Kevrin stared at the holographic display in front of him. Hundreds of ships formed up behind his flagship, the Dominator, ready to engage. This sector is a graveyard, growled Commander Silas, a grizzled reptilian officer. Every ship we've sent to investigate has gone silent. 3 destroyers. And to science vessels, all gone. Kevrin's mandibles clicked in frustration. We can't afford to ignore this. That signal wasn't random static. It was a broadcast, and it was human. The words sent ripples of unease through the bridge crew. Humans are myth, Silas spat. Ghost stories for hatchlings. They were wiped out in the Great Silence. Kevrin shook his head. No, the signal matches old Terran encryption codes. Perfectly if they're alive, or if one of their war machines is waking up. He didn't finish the thought. Didn't need to. Everyone knew what it meant. The last time humans were active in the galaxy, they built warships so large they could eclipse moons? Entire fleets of alien empires vanished before their advance. It took dozens of races forming the first Galactic Coalition just to slow them down. If a human ship had survived, and if it was waking up, the balance of power in the galaxy would shatter overnight. The fleet jumped into the sector in tight formation, weapons primed. At first nothing moved. The asteroid field ahead was dense and cold, littered with the remains of ancient ships' rusted hulls, shattered weapons, debris drifting like bones in a graveyard. Scans online, ordered Kevrin. Find the source of the signal, the sensor officer hissed. Sir, I have a massive structure at 0.3 astronomical units. It's hidden inside the asteroid field. Show me. A hologram flickered to life. At first, Kevrin thought it was a Muna jagged, irregular shape covered in craters and dust. But as the scans deepened, details emerged. Armor plating. Turrets the size of skyscrapers. Gigantic hangar bays and A nameplate etched into the hull in an ancient language. TSS Valiant Dawn. It's a human ship, whispered Silas. The bridge went silent. Kevrin sent a single scout frigate forward. The swift Talon maneuvered carefully into the asteroid field. Its engines on minimum thrust inside. Captain Arlena, slender avian, watched the massive derelict grow larger on her screens. This thing is enormous. It's got to be over 300 kilometers long. The ship looked dead. There's no lights, no movement. Its surface was scarred by ancient battles, entire sections torn open by unknown weapons. Scan for life signs, Erlon ordered. The science officer shook his head. No life detected, but its residual power deep inside the core. Faint, but growing. Growing? Yes, Captain. It's like something's charging up. Arlen's feathers ruffled. This wreck's been here for 50,000 years. What the hell is waking it up now? Before anyone could answer, a deep vibration ran through the frigate. Captain, the comms officer said in a tight voice, we're picking up. A voice transmission. Play it. At first, there was only static. Then, in a deep, resonant tone, came the words, You stand in the presence of Terran sovereignty, warship Valiant Dawn. The crew froze. This sector is under Terran. Control, withdraw, or be annihilated. Humanity endures. On the Dominator's bridge, Kevrin watched as the derelict's surface flickered with light. Admiral, the sensor officer barked, power levels on the human ship are spiking. Something's happening. The hologram of the Valiant Dawn began to glow. Faint blue lights traced along its surface, spreading like veins. Gigantic turrets rotated for the first time in millennia. Docking bays rumbled open. They're coming. Online, Silas hissed. You have to strike now before it fully awakens. Kevrin hesitated. A human super... Even in its dormant state, it radiated power far beyond anything in the Coalition's arsenal. Admiral. Kevrin clenched his mandibles. Hold your fire. Let's see what they do.
Oh.
The Valiant Dawn's engines ignited. Massive thrusters, flared with blue-white energy, pushing the ship free of the asteroid field. Sir, shouted the comms officer, receiving another transmission. Put it through. On the screen appeared a holographic figure, a human male clad in ancient Terran battle armor. His eyes glowed with artificial light. His voice boomed like thunder. This galaxy belongs to humanity. You will leave, or you will burn. The bridge crew stared in silence. Kevrin's heart pounded. For the first time in 50,000 years, humanity had returned. As the Valiant Dawn turned its massive guns toward the Coalition fleet, Kevrin whispered under his breath, Gods help us all. And then the screen went dark. The Valiant Dawn floated silently in the asteroid field, its massive frame half hidden by drifting rocks. From a distance, it looked dead. The ancient human supercarrier was coated in dust and debris, its hull scarred from battles fought 50,000 years ago. But deep within its armored heart, systems were stirring. Power conduits hummed faintly. Ancient processors flickered to life. Blue light crawled like veins along the walls as a cold, mechanical voice whispered through the corridors. Primary AI core online. Awakening sequence at 12%. At Terran combat protocols resuming. The giant was waking on the bridge of the Dominator. Admiral Kevrin stared at the holographic display. The Valiant Dawn loomed large, its shadow eclipsing the Coalition fleet. She's alive, whispered Commander Silas, his reptilian scales darkening in fear. That thing is not a wreck. It's a predator. Kevrin's mandibles clicked. Not a... Fully, it's only just powering up. Then we strike now, Silas growled, before it finishes. Burn it to ash while we still can. No, barked Kevrin. Do you realize what that ship is? The bridge fell silent. Kevrin's voice lowered. That's not some relic. It's a Terran sovereignty supercarrier. When humanity still ruled the stars, these ships were the terror of the galaxy. They're extinct. Silas shot back. They've been gone for 50 millennia. Then, how do you explain that? Kevrin snapped, pointing to the glowing human vessel. The comms officer's voice trembled. Admiral, We're picking up encrypted data bursts from the ship. It's scanning us. Kevrin's stomach turned cold. They're waking up, he muttered. And they're watching us. A heated argument broke out on the bridge. Fire all batteries, Silas demanded. We have over 200 ships. A derelict's shields are. Still cold. We can tear it apart before it retaliates. Kevrin shook his head. And if we fail, if we provoke it before we know its strength. The science officer chimed in nervously. Sir, I'm detecting energy spikes across its hull. Shield emitters are warming, and oh gods, its main weapon arrays are charging. Silas's scales rippled in fear. It's preparing to attack. Kevrin felt sweat bead along his brow. He was running out of time. Attack too soon, and they might awaken a monster. Wait too long, and it might annihilate them all. Send a message, Kevrin ordered. To whom? Asked the comms officer. Kevrin's voice dropped. To them. The transmission went out. Terran vessel, this is Admiral Kevrin of the Galactic Coalition. Identify yourself. You're surrounded. Stand down and prepare to be boarded. For a long moment, only static answered. Then the Valiant Dawn came alive. Lights blazed along its colossal surface, illuminating titanic gun batteries the size of city blocks. Massive hangar bays yawned open. An ancient fighter drone stirred like insects swarming from a hive. On the Dominator's bridge, the crew watched. In horror, as a hologram materialized before them, it was a man tall. Armored, his face pale, and his eyes glowing with artificial light. His voice echoed like thunder. This is Terran Sovereignty Warship Valiant Dawn. Your presence in Terran space is unauthorized. Withdraw immediately. Humanity endures. The hologram flickered. You have 60 seconds to comply. On board. The Iron Fang, a hot-headed coalition destroyer captain, panicked. Fire, he screamed. Fire before it's too late. The Iron Fang launched a barrage of plasma torpedoes. The missiles streaked toward the Valiant Dawn, their warheads glowing bright. For a heartbeat, the coalition fleet held its breath. The torpedoes struck the human ship's hull and simply disintegrated against a shimmering blue shield. On the Dominator, alarms screamed, Sir, shouted the sensor officer. Its shields are fully online. Kevrin slammed his fist against the console. I told them to hold fire. But it was too late. On the Valiant Dawn, the ancient AI registered the attack. Hostile action confirmed. Coalition vessels classified as enemy combatants. Activating combat protocols. The ship's massive turrets rotated with bone-crushing precision. Beams of searing white energy lanced out in a single devastating volley. The Iron Fang was vaporized, reduced to dust and plasma before its crew could scream. Shockwaves rippled through the coalition fleet. Hundreds of alien ships scrambled for position, their commanders shouting contradictory orders. Shields up, fall back, hold the line. But deep down, they all knew. They were ants standing before a god. Admiral Kevrin watched in stunned silence as the Valiant Dawn slowly turned to face the fleet. Its colossal engines roared to life. A single transmission echoed across every coalition. Ship, humanity is eternal, leave or burn. Kevrin's mandibles clicked nervously. May the stars help us all, he whispered, and then with a blinding flash. The Valiant Dawn surged forward. The Galactic Coalition fleet drifted in stunned silence. Before them, the human supercarrier Valiant Dawn blazed like a newborn star. Its colossal hull shimmered with glowing blue lines, and titanic engines pushed it forward at a terrifying, steady pace in less than 30 seconds. It had annihilated the Iron Fanga destroyer-class ship with some of the strongest shields. In the fleet, hundreds of alien warships stood paralyzed in its shadow, caught between fear and duty. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Kevrin's mandibles twitched nervously. Status report, he barked. The sensor officer's voice shook. Admiral. The Valiant Dawn's energy output just spiked again. Weapon systems fully charged. Shields at 100%. And, sir, they're scanning every ship in our fleet. Kevrin felt his stomach twist. looking for weaknesses or targets. Commander Silas hissed beside him. Kevrin's mind raced. Supercarrier enchant, yes, but still terrifyingly powerful. If this one ship was active, how many more could still be sleeping across the galaxy, and why now? Without warning, every coalition screen went black. Then a face appeared. It was human. A man with pale, scarred skin and glowing blue eyes stared out at them. He wore ancient battle armor, etched with gold and silver lines. A faint hum of machinery came from his chest plate. His voice echoed with both human and synthetic tones. I am Commander Arcturus, acting captain of the Terran Sovereignty supercarrier Valiant Dawn. You have violated Terran space. Your fleets hover like scavengers over our sacred ground. His eyes seem to pierce through every alien in the Coalition fleet. Leave this sector immediately. You have 60 seconds to comply.
Failure too.
Do so will result in total annihilation. The message cut out. For a moment, there was silence across the fleet. Then panic erupted. Fire on that monster now, Silas roared. His reptilian tail thrashed in fury. We can't let them finish. Waking up. If we wait, we're all dead. Kevrin slammed a clawed fist on the console. No, Silas turned on him. Why are you hesitating, Admiral? Are you afraid? Kevrin's mandibles twitched. Yes, because unlike you, I've read the old archives. The bridge crew fell silent. Kevrin's voice hardened. Do you know what a Terran supercarrier really is? One of these ships could sterilize entire star systems. They weren't built to fight fleets. They were built to wipe out civilizations. Silas spat on the floor. They're extinct. They were supposed to be extinct. I tell that to thee. Iron Fang, Kevrin shot back. Silas growled but said nothing. The comms officer spoke up, voice trembling. Admiral, the Valiant Dawn has deployed hundreds of small crafts. Drones, fighters, bombers. They're surrounding us. Are they? Attacking? Kevrin asked. Not yet. They're waiting. Kevrin's eyes narrowed. They're giving us a choice. On the main screen, a countdown appeared. 59, 58, 57. Every second felt like a hammer strike. Orders, Admiral. Kevrin stared at the glowing human ship. For a brief moment he imagined what humanity must have been like in their prime thousands. Of ships like this one, crossing the stars, bending alien empires to their will. Was this ship acting on its own? Or was it just the first spark of something much bigger, Admiral? The comms officer repeated. Kevrin took a deep breath. Hold. You're fire. The other captains didn't agree. Messages flooded the Dominator. We can't just sit here. The humans will kill us all. Strike first before it's too late. Kevrin overrode them all. Listen to me. He barked over the fleet-wide comms. If we attack, we're dead. If we run, we're dead. We need to buy time. Demanded one captain. Kevrin's mandibles clicked. We make contact. Directly. If there's even a sliver of humanity left in them, we can reason with it. Silas hissed. And if there isn't, then may the stars have mercy on us. Kevrin sent a single transmission to the Valiant Dawn. Terran vessel, this is Admiral Kevrin of the Galactic Coalition. We request dialogue. We wish to avoid conflict. For a long, tense moment, there was no reply. Then the holographic face of Commander Arcturus returned. His glowing eyes narrowed. Dialogue, he said slowly, as though tasting the word for the first time in 50,000 years. You claim to wish for peace, yet you orbit my vessel with weapons primed. To strike at my hull with your pitiful torpedoes. You call yourselves a coalition? His lips curled in a faint smirk. We faced coalitions before. They all burned. Kevrin's voice was calm but firm. The galaxy has changed since humanity's time. The war you fought ended long ago. There's no need for more bloodshed. Arcturus tilted his head. No need for bloodshed. For a moment his expression softened. A flicker of something sadness maybe passed across his face. Then it was gone. Very well, Admiral. We shall talk. Kevrin felt a wave of relief too soon. Arcturus leaned closer, his eyes glowing brighter. But understand this. You stand on the edge of a blade. It's one wrong move, and this galaxy will burn again. Before Kevrin could respond, the human commander's voice boomed. Prepare your leaders. Humanity has returned. The hologram vanished. The Valiant Dawn's engines roared to life, and deep within the ship, ancient stasis chambers hummed as more systems came online. Humanity was no longer sleeping. The Valiant Dawn drifted at the edge of the asteroid field like a predator biding its time. Around it, the shattered remains of the Coalition destroyer, Iron Fang, still glimmered faintly melted metal. Frozen bodies and plasma fire slowly fading into the void. Admiral Kevrin watched. From the bridge of the Dominator, his mandibles clicked nervously. Every muscle in his body screamed at him to run.
Ow.
But he knew better. Running wouldn't save them.
Out.
Not from this. The Terran supercarrier wasn't just a ship, it was a ghost from the galaxy's darkest age, and now it was awake. Admiral, said the science officer, her voice tight with fear. We pulled data from the deepest Coalition archives, like you ordered. Kevrin turned sharply. What did you find? She hesitated. Spit it out, Kevrin barked. She swallowed. Hard. Sir, the Valiant Dawn isn't the only one. There were hundreds of these supercarriers built during the Terran ascendancy, maybe thousands. Kevrin felt a chill run through his core. Where are the others? The officer's hand shook. We don't know. Records past 50,000 years are fragmented, but there's evidence these ships weren't destroyed in battle. They were hidden. Hidden? Yes, Admiral. Placed in stasis fields across the galaxy, waiting for a signal to awaken. Kevrin's stomach turned cold. And what triggered this one? She looked up, her eyes wide. We think this ship woke up because it detected us. In the center of the Dominator's bridge, the holographic image of Commander Arcturus flickered to life again. You are lucky, Admiral, the human said in his deep, metallic voice. Lucky we remember mercy. Lucky we do not yet see you as the enemy you could become. Kevrin forced his mandibles to stay still. Why are you here? What do you want? Arcturus's glowing blue eyes seemed to stare into Kevrin's soul. We were humanity's shield, humanity's sword. The galaxy bled at our feet, and still it was not enough. Our fleets burned bright until the darkness came. Kevrin frowned. What darkness? For the first time, the human hesitated. His face tightened, and a faint vibration shook his voice. The ones who came from beyond, they were not like you. We're not like anyone. We fought and we died. We buried. Our vengeance deep within these ships? The hologram stepped closer. We swore that if humanity ever needed us again, we would awaken. And now we are awake. Across the Coalition fleet, panic spread like wildfire. This is suicide, shouted one alien captain over the comms. We can't let these monsters rise again. They're too strong, cried another. Destroy the Terran ship now before more awaken. But others hesitated. What if they're telling the truth? What if there's something worse out there? They're humans. Don't you remember the stories? They're worse than anything. Admiral Kevrin silenced the chatter with a single bark. Enough. We don't know their intent. And we don't know what's out there. If we fight blindly, we may doom us all. Commander Silas hissed behind him, or we let the wolves back into the fold and watch them devour the flock. Kevrin's eyes didn't leave the glowing human figure. We need answers first. The science officer spoke again, her voice almost a whisper. Admiral, we've intercepted another data burst from the Valiant Dawn. It's broadcasting activation codes. Kevrin's head snapped around. Activation codes for what? The officer's skin turned pale. For other supercarriers, sir. Silence, gripped the bridge. How many? Kevrin asked, his voice low. The officer swallowed hard. We don't know. But then the sensors lit up. Admiral, massive energy surges. Detected across multiple sectors, Kevrin stared at the display in horror as icons flared across the star map, one in the Perseus. Arm another, near the galactic core, a third on the far edge of the Sagittarius spiral. Each one marked an ancient human supercarrier awakening from its 50,000-year slumber. On the screen, Commander Arcturus's voice echoed across the fleet. The Terran hegemony rises again. Stand with us, or be swept aside. The Valiant Dawn's colossal engines roared. Across the galaxy, ancient human war machines stirred from the darkness, and every alien civilization trembled. The galaxy burned with fear. In the hours since the Valiant Dawn awakened, ancient human signals had flared to life across a dozen sectors. One by one, colossal warships long thought, lost 2 times stirred from their 50,000-year slumber, and the Galactic Coalition trembled. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Kevrin's claws tapped nervously against his chair. A star map flickered in front of him, littered with glowing red icons. Each one marked a Terran supercarrier. 7, whispered his science officer. We've confirmed 7 vessels so far. Can more keep appearing. Kevrin's mandibles clicked. How many could there be? Hundreds, Admiral. Maybe thousands. Enough, roared Commander Silas, slamming his clawed fist onto the console. We can't just watch as these monsters awaken. If we wait, they'll crush us like insects. Kevrin turned slowly. You think striking first will save you? Yes. Silas growled. We have numbers. We have firepower. If we hit them hard enough now, before they're fully operational, we might destroy them, Mike Kevrin repeated coldly. A heated argument erupted across the Coalition Council. Some wanted peace. Others demanded war. In the end, fear won. A strike fleet was assembled. 300 of the Coalition's finest warships, led by the massive dreadnought Sunblade. Their target, a second Terran supercarrier, codenamed TSS Eternity's Fist, detected near the Perseus arm, Captain Varric of the Sunblade addressed his fleet. This is our only chance. The humans are still vulnerable. Their weapons are ancient. Their shields are untested. If we destroy one now, we send a message to the others. The galaxy is not theirs to claim. The fleet surged forward, engines roaring, the Eternity's Fist hung in the darkness like a sleeping giant. It was even larger than the Valiant Dawn, its armored hull etched with Terran runes. Faint blue lights flickered along its surface as ancient systems began humming to life. Scans show partial power, reported a Coalition officer. Shields at 30%. Weapons offline. Good, Captain, Varric growled. Hit them with everything. We've got... The Coalition fleet opened fire. Hundreds of plasma torpedoes and ion beams streaked through the void, slamming into the Eternity's Fist. Explosions erupted across its surface, tearing apart outer layers of armor. The Coalition crew cheered. Direct hits, shouted an officer. We're punching through their hull. Varric grinned viciously. Keep firing. Don't give them a chance to breathe. But then, a deep vibration rippled through the void. The Eternity's Fist's lights blazed bright. Massive shield arrays flared to full power, casting a blinding blue glow across the battlefield, sir, cried a Coalition officer. Their shields are up. That's impossible, Varric barked. You've already crippled them, sir. They're powering weapons. The Eternity's Fist spoke for the first time. A deep, booming voice echoed across every comm channel in the fleet. We are the Terran hegemony. You have fired upon us. Now you will witness our strength. The ship's titanic turrets rotated with terrifying precision, engaging combat protocols, initiating total fleet annihilation. Blinding white beams lanced out from the supercarrier's weapons. In a single devastating volley, half the Coalition's front line disintegrated. Dreadnoughts melted. Cruisers split apart. Entire squadrons vanished in blinding light. Retreat, screamed a Coalition captain. All ships retreat. Shields failing, cried another. We can't hold. The once proud Coalition fleet fell into chaos. Ships collided as they scrambled to escape, but there was no escape. The Eternity's Fist unleashed a second wave of attacks. Massive railguns fired projectiles at near-light speed, tearing through ships like paper. Swarms of ancient Terran drones launched from hangars, cutting down fleeing vessels with surgical precision. Within minutes, over 200 Coalition ships were gone back on the Dominator. Admiral Kevrin stared at the carnage unfolding on the holoscreen. They didn't stand a chance, whispered his science officer. Kevrin's mandibles trembled. We're not fighting a fleet, he said softly. We're fighting gods. Silas slammed his fist down. We should have sent everything at them. Kevrin shook his head and lost everything. These aren't ships, they're executioners. As the Coalition fleet burned, a single Terran transmission echoed across the galaxy. This was your first and final warning. Humanity has returned. Submit or perish. Admiral Kevrin felt a cold dread settle in his chest. Stars help us. All, he whispered, and across the galaxy. Other supercarriers began powering up. Humanity wasn't coming back. They were already here. The galaxy burned Coalition. Fleets lay in ruin across multiple sectors. Ancient human supercarriers, long buried and thought to be myths, had risen from their slumber. Wherever they awakened, they left only wreckage and silence behind. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Kevrin stared at the star map. More red. Icons flickered online every hour. Each one represented a Terran warship coming back to life. They're everywhere, whispered the science officer. We can't stop them. No one can. Then we need another. Option, Admiral, barked the comms officer. We've intercepted a new transmission from the Valiant Dawn. Kevrin leaned forward. Is it another threat? No, sir. It's different. It's coming from deep inside the ship. A biological signal. Kevrin's eyes widened. Biological? Yes, Admiral. It's human. The bridge went silent. Commander Silas's scales rippled in disbelief. Impossible. The humans have been extinct for 50,000 years. Kevrin shook his head slowly. Maybe not all of them. Against all advice, Kevrin assembled a small strike team to infiltrate the Valiant Dawn. If there's really a human on board, Kevrin told his officers, they could be the key to ending this war before it begins. If we can talk to them, reason with them, we might have a chance. And if they kill you the moment you set foot inside, Silas growled. Kevrin's eyes hardened. Then, at least we tried. The boarding craft detached from the Dominator and glided silently toward the colossal Terran ship. The Valiant Dawn was a tomb. Kevrin's team moved cautiously through massive, dimly lit corridors. The walls hummed with power as ancient systems stirred. Giant statues of armored humans lined the halls, their blank eyes seeming to follow the intruders. This place is terrifying, whispered one soldier. It feels alive. Kevrin kept his voice calm. Stay focused. We find the human. We get answers. But deep down, even he felt the weight of 50,000 years pressing down on him at last. They reached a massive chamber. In its center stood a single stasis pod. Inside floated a mantle, muscular, his pale skin covered in strange scars. Unlike the holograms of Arcturus they'd seen before, this man was no AI projection. He was real. His chest rose and fell faintly. Kevrin's heart pounded. He's alive, Admiral, the science officer said nervously. The pod is connected to the ship's core systems. If we wake him, we could trigger everything. Kevrin took a deep breath. Do it. A steam hissed as the pod opened. The man's eyes fluttered. Then he sat up. His gaze swept the room, settling on Kevrin. You're not Terran, he said, his voice low and rough. What? Are you? Kevrin stepped forward slowly. I am Admiral Kevrin of the Galactic Coalition. We came seeking peace. The man's eyes darkened. Peace, he muttered. That word means nothing. Kevrin's mandibles clicked nervously. Who are you? The man's glowing blue eyes locked onto his. I am Captain Elias Kane, last commander of the Terran hegemony. Kane's voice hardened. 50,000 years ago, humanity fought the darkness. We built these ships, these machines, to protect what was ours. But in the end, we lost. The hegemony fell, and I was ordered to sleep until the time came to finish the fight. Kevrin frowned. What darkness? Enemy could defeat the Terrans. Kane's face twisted with anger. They're coming. Who? Kevrin demanded. Kane's voice dropped to a whisper. The ones who killed the stars. Before Kevrin could speak, alarms blared across the chamber. The ship's AI voice echoed through the halls. Warning, Coalition forces detected. Activating planetary sterilization protocol. Kane's eyes burned bright blue. You shouldn't have come here, he said coldly. And with a flick of his hand, the entire ship trembled as its colossal weapons powered up. The galaxy had never been so quiet. Coalition fleets had retreated to their home sectors, licking their wounds after devastating losses against the awakening human supercarriers. But the silence didn't feel like peace. It felt like the calm before a storm. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Kevrin stared at the tactical map. Red Terran icons now dotted every major spiral arm. Hundreds of ancient warships, all online, all watching. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, the true enemy waited. Admiral said the comms officer nervously, "We've detected a signal from the intergalactic void. It's strange." Kevrin's mandibles twitched. Strange how? It's not Tehran, and it's not from any known species in the Coalition. The science officer cut in, her voice tight. "Sir, it's broadcasting on the same frequency the Terrans used in their old war logs. The ones labeled Category Omega threats." Kevrin felt his blood run cold. "Put it on speakers." A low guttural hum filled the bridge. Then a whispering voice slithered through the comms. "We remember the fires of Sol. We remember the Terrans. We are coming." The signal cut off, leaving the crew in stunned silence, in the void between galaxies. Something stirred. Coalition deep space probes caught glimpses of it, first vast. Jagged shapes moving against the cosmic background. Whole stars dimmed as they passed. "They're not ships," the science officer said, her voice trembling. "They're alive." Creatures were massive beyond comprehension, each one larger than a planet, their forms twisted like shadows. Given flesh, impossible geometry folding in and out of reality, "They're heading straight for the galactic core," she whispered. Kevrin's comms chimed. The face of Captain Elias Kane appeared a real human this time, not an AI projection. "You've seen them, haven't you?" Kane said grimly. Kevrin nodded. "What are they?" Kane's eyes darkened. "They are the Voidborn, the ones who killed us." "You fought them before?" Kevrin asked. Kane shook his head. "We survived them, barely. It cost us everything. My people buried the supercarriers and went into stasis to prepare for this moment." "And now you're awake," Kevrin said slowly. "Yes," Kane replied. "But we are few. The hegemony is gone. Even with our war machines, we can't stop them alone." Kevrin's mandibles clicked nervously. "You're asking for an alliance." "I'm giving you a choice," Kane said coldly. "Stand with humanity, or be the first to burn." Before Kevrin could respond, alarms screamed across the Dominator's bridge. "Admiral, Voidborn creature, has entered Coalition space. It's attacking the Chiral system." On the holoscreen, they watched in horror as a massive shadow enveloped an entire planet. Tendrils of black energy lashed out, tearing cities apart, feeding on the planet's core. Coalition warships opened fire. Plasma beams and nuclear warheads slammed into the creature's hide. But their weapons did nothing. The Voidborn lashed back, and an entire fleet vanished in a single strike. The valiant dawn arrived. Kevrin watched as the Terran supercarrier engaged the creature, deploying Novalance. Kane's voice echoed. A brilliant white beam lanced out from the human ships. Bow, punching straight through the creature's hide. The Voidborn screeched a sound so loud, it shattered nearby Coalition comms erased. Then impossibly the creature regenerated. "It's healing," the science officer cried. Kane's voice came through, cold and calm. "Of course it is. That's why we didn't kill them before." On the holoscreen, more massive shapes appeared at the galactic edge. Admiral the comms officer said faintly, There's more of them, thousands." Kane's eyes blazed. "This is what we built the hegemony to stop. You wanted peace, Admiral? Peace is over." Kevrin's mandibles clicked nervously. "What do we do?" Kane leaned forward, his voice low and deadly. "Pray we're still strong enough to win." and in the distance, the galaxy began to scream. Galaxy burned. Worlds fell silent as the Voidborn spread across the stars, devouring everything in their path. Planetary cores were torn open, suns snuffed out, and entire civilizations erased in minutes. And yet, for the first time in 50,000 years, humanity had returned to the fight. Supercarriers like the Valiant Dawn and Eternity's Fist gathered at the galactic core, their colossal hulls gleaming like gods forged from steel and light. But even they looked small against the coming storm. Admiral. Kevrin watched in horror as the star map flickered red. Thousands, no, millions of Voidborn swarmed toward them like a living tide. "They're everywhere," whispered the science officer. "More than we ever imagined." On the main screen, Captain Elias Kane's face appeared. The last human's glowing blue eyes burned with cold determination. "This is it, Admiral," Kane said. "If we fail here, the galaxy dies. If you have any ships left, send them now." Kevrin hesitated. "Even with our combined fleets, we're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. How do we win this?" Kane's lips curled in a faint smile. "We don't win." Kevrin's mandibles twitched. "What?" "We end it." At Kane's command, hundreds of Terran supercarriers aligned in a massive defensive formation. Coalition ships joined them reluctantly. Their captains still mistrustful of the humans, but terrified of the greater threat. "We've synchronized our shields," Kane said over the fleet-wide comms. "Stay close to the supercarriers. If you break formation, you'll die." Admiral Kevrin, Kane added, "Your forces are our flank. Hold the line no matter what happens." Kevrin swallowed hard. Understood. The Voidborn struck like a tidal wave. Monstrous creatures slammed into the combined fleet, tearing ships apart with tendrils of Black Energy Coalition cruisers, exploded one by one. The Valiant Dawn fired its Nova Lance, slicing a Voidborn in half. But even as the creature died, 3 more took its place. "They're endless," cried a Coalition officer. Kane's voice cut through the chaos. "They're not endless. They're a hive. Kill the core, and the swarm dies with it." Deep inside, the Voidborn horde, a massive shape loomed the hive-mind. It was larger than a star, its body writhing with millions of smaller Voidborn. Kane's eyes blazed. "All units target the core. We break it here or we break forever." Terran supercarriers charged their doomsday. Weapons. Coalition fleets poured every torpedo and beam into the hive mind. The creature roared, lashing out with planet-sized limbs. Whole supercarriers were ripped apart like toys. Kevrin's ship shook violently as debris slammed into its shields. "Admiral, our defenses are collapsing," cried the comms officer. "Hold the line," Kevrin barked. Kane's voice echoed across the fleet. "This is what humanity was built for. This is our moment." The Valiant Dawn and Eternity's Fist accelerated toward the hive mind, their cores glowing with unimaginable energy. "Captain Kane, what are you doing?" Kevrin shouted. Kane's face appeared on the screen, calm and resolute. "The hegemony built these ships for one purpose, to destroy the unkillable. But it comes at a price." "A price?" Kevrin asked. Kane's expression softened. "Goodbye." "Admiral, tell the galaxy. Humanity kept its promise." The supercarriers collided with the hive mind. A blinding wave of light consumed everything. The explosion tore through the swarm, vaporizing thousands of Voidborn in an instant. The hive mind screamed as its core shattered. Across the galaxy, the Voidborn froze and disintegrated into dust. Silence fell when the light faded. The Terran supercarriers were gone. Admiral Kevrin stood on the Dominator's bridge, staring at the empty space where Kane's ship had been. "They did it," whispered his science officer. "They did more than that," Kevrin said softly. "They saved us all." But deep in the void, far from any star, a faint signal flickered. "To life, this is Captain Elias Kane. If anyone can hear me, humanity endures." The transmission cut out. Kevrin's mandibles twitched in shock. They're still out there. And somewhere in the galaxy, the last humans prepared for their return.